what's up? I'm Dave Boyer, aka Mr. Boyer, aka the Swamp Man, and I'm hiking a piece of the Appalachian Trail in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It's pretty early in the morning. Got a good start. Had to change plans last night. I planned on wild camping in my rooftop tent somewhere in Pisgah National Forest, about an hour and a half maybe from where I started this morning. But it's the last weekend in April, and maybe they haven't opened up those national forests yet, because went to two different roads that have some dispersed camping on them, and both of them were gated shut. So I just kept driving and came to where I was planning on hiking. Ended up going a little bit further down to Alum Cave Trailhead, just because I felt like better parking down there for overnight. And then just slept in the front seat of the truck. Wasn't what I planned, but made it through the night and got up just a little bit before sunrise and drove a couple miles back up, or further south I guess, to Newfound Gap, where I left this morning. Maybe a half mile from the trailhead. Trying to move pretty quick. There's been a lot of people already, despite it being so early. But one of my goals, I have many goals, hiking goals. One of my goals is to hike every part of the Appalachian Trail in Great Smoky Mountains. And I don't know, I haven't calculated like an official list of miles, but I've done maybe half of the trail through the park, but there's a section I haven't done, so I picked it. Not going too far with a full backpack. Just going to Icewater Springs shelter, a little bit less than 3 miles I think. But then I've got a day pack packed in the backpack and plan on going as far north as I can today, and then turning around to return to the shelter for camping tonight. So, one night backpacking trip, and yet I brought so much stuff. Partly because of the time of the year. There's definitely a chance of cooler weather higher up in the Smokies here. Forecast showed really good chances of rain. Also have a new cooking stove. I wanted to bring that, so sort of loaded up my backpack as much as I could, really, because kind of training for a Mount Rainier climb this summer. So I've got about a 40-pound pack today. When climbing Mount Rainier, it's going to be maybe as much as a 50-pound pack, but it's a good test for me. I'll check. And like I said in my previous clip, there's a lot of people using this trail. So I came up on several groups of day hikers and stopped recording. I was talking about training for Mount Rainier, and for anybody new to my channel, I had serious knee injury in late spring of 2021. Surgery that summer, almost 2 years ago, coming up on, and it's still just not right, and that's been really frustrating because I've kind of backed off of a lot of the training that I was doing to prepare for Mount Rainier and Bora Peak and Mount Elbert and several other high mountains this summer. You know, for a while I was putting a pack on like this and running on my elliptical at home and pushing the pace faster and faster and feeling strong, and then just had a big setback. I haven't been to the doctor, so it's hard to say what issues I'm having, you know, whether it's just that I haven't strengthened the muscles around the knee and it's kind of laboring, or whether I damaged something in the knee doing these trainings. But you know, I really haven't run in 2 months, and I had been building up towards running on my running trail, feeling better and better with my stride. So that's been really depressing, actually, to maybe even be further behind than where I was at a year ago. But you know, I'm optimistic, so I wanted to test out carrying a pack, doing some elevation changes, and see how that feels. Been hiking this morning about 2.5 miles in less than an hour, so keeping a great pace, and my knee feels good. I feel tightness occasionally and pain, you know, but I just don't know if that's something I've got to just suck up and deal with, which I can do that, or if I've got something structurally wrong again. So that's kind of the main motivation of this hike. I tried to get a friend to hike with me, Jeff, and he's in 2 bands, and they've got 2 gigs this weekend, so it didn't work out. So I'm solo, which I love. It's one of my favorite things to do, is to hike solo. So you know, I'm not complaining, but that was kind of the motivations, trying to test out my knee, test out carrying a fairly good size heavy pack, and you know, then the added benefit of being in a beautiful place, tallying a few more miles on the Appalachian Trail, exploring a part of Great Smoky Mountains that I haven't been in. I don't know how many times I've been to Great Smoky Mountains, but it may be 20 or more. I went to school at UNC Asheville, and any weekend that I didn't have to work, I pretty much was here. I mean, this was my main place I wanted to go. Love this park. I hate that, you know, everybody loves this park, and it's the most visited national park, and it's hard to get away from people around the roads, but hike 2.5 miles in and going in a lot further, you can find places and times where you feel like you've got some space to yourself. I'm probably not far from Ice Water Springs shelter, where I'll be dropping my pack and switching to my day pack. Really close to there is Charlie's Bunyan, maybe what I'm looking forward to the most. I've heard great things about it. Pictures, you know, the view looks amazing, and the weather seems to be cooperating for that, so I'm excited to get up there. But that's also where all these day hikers are going, so I know there'll be people up there. Once I get past that point, heading further north on the AT, I don't expect to see maybe even anybody the rest of the day. We'll see, but I'll keep you informed. Looks like I'm coming up on a trail intersection. The Boulevard Trail, we hiked on that. Last time I hiked was in this park was with my friend Jeff, and we hiked up Alum Cave Trail to Mount LeConte and hiked on the Boulevard Trail some. But 2/10 of a mile left to the shelter, 1.3 up to Charlie's Bunyan, and then we'll see how far north I'll go today. Laurel Top is something I've seen on the map as maybe a goal to get to today. I think that'll make for maybe as much as a 15-mile day. I'm not 100% sure on that mileage, but as long as I'm feeling good, I'm gonna keep moving. I love this forest. All right, I'll see y'all in a bit. All right, breakfast time, I guess. Made it to the Ice Water Spring shelter where I'm staying tonight. It's still not even 9 in the morning. So I got a full day ahead that I can day hike further north. I've already kind of changed out to my day pack and making a cup of tea. The luxuries of packing heavy on purpose, trying to kind of test the weight limits of myself and make sure that I can handle a pack on Mount Rainier. And so far so good. I know it's a short hike, about 3 miles. Got to go a lot further than that on Mount Rainier, but so far so good. Let me show you around the shelter real quick, and since there's nobody here, I mean there was people here when I first came, but they've headed off. They stayed last night. This is a pretty typical shelter on the Appalachian Trail. Unless somebody else does it, I don't think I'll have a fire tonight, but a nice fireplace inside here, and then some spots to lay down a camping pad, either on the bottom or the top. Like a lot of the shelters, there's probably gonna be mice running around there tonight. But it's got a good view. And then, like all the shelters, they should have a water source. That's kind of why they probably chose to build a shelter here. I assume the water source is cold if they're going to call this place Ice Water Springs. Maybe you can see some of those peaks sticking up above the clouds. I love that in mountains. Like, there's so many amazing, beautiful things about mountains. And the Great Smokies are some of the best on the East Coast. It's hard to do some training hikes for Mount Rainier, a 14,000 foot mountain, when you live on the East Coast and you don't have any mountains above 7,000 feet. So nothing I can do here is going to be testing elevation. But this summer we've got lots of stuff before Mount Rainier. Driving up to Alaska, we'll spend a few weeks up there. Some of which will be at some good elevation, but then coming down through the Canadian Rockies, we'll definitely hit some peaks above 10,000 feet. So hopefully all of that will will get me ready. I'm super stoked about Mount Rainier. I mean, it's cost a lot of money to do a guided climb of it. I've bought a bunch of new gear, stuff that I'm wearing right now, this shirt. Got that jet boil that made my tea with, not necessarily for Mount Rainier, but I'm testing out several pieces of new equipment on this hike in particular. New hiking sticks as well, so it's been good. But I'm gonna sit and enjoy a cup of tea and then head further north on the AT. I'll show you some of it when I get made it to Charles Bunyan, and maybe a quarter mile now past that. There were, as expected, people there, so the main kind of spot, I guess, the perch of rock, there's just kind of a line of people almost to take pictures up there. So I just hung around for a minute on the outskirts and then took off further north on the Appalachian Trail here. I'll be going back by Charles Bunyan on the way back to camp tonight, so maybe this afternoon there might be less people, I don't know, or at least maybe I'll be more patient and wait out until I get a chance. But I don't know how far I'm gonna make it. I made a bad choice, a bad error actually. I was sitting at the shelter sipping my tea and kind of thinking about what I would bring on this day hike today, and put the water pack into my backpack, which is full, so that's good, but was deciding on whether or not I needed to bring my filter or my life water straw. And I wanted to bring the life water straw, but it was in my backpack and I didn't get it out before leaving, so my big backpack. I made a mistake there, so I only have the water in my bladder in my backpack, so I'll have to watch that and make sure I get back to camp to get some more water today. So that may limit me some. I was looking at maybe getting as far as Mount Sequoia today, which all combined I think would make something like an 18-mile day, but I can't do that without water, so maybe I'll try to stick to kind of one of the original goals, which was Laurel Top. We'll see. I'm heading that way now. All right. Didn't even shoot a video up at Laurel Top, which was the intended destination today, but I stopped there and ate lunch, but I've turned back south now. Laurel Top, you couldn't, or at least without scrambling off the trail that I found, you couldn't get up to the actual top of the rocks there, but I found a little spot to sit down on a log and have lunch, rest a little bit. And that was about 8.3 miles from Newfound Gap, I came in 3 miles with the big backpack and then dropped that at Ice Water Springs shelter where I'm staying tonight, and then switched to day pack and went, you know, a little bit more than 5 miles further, and then turned around, now heading back that 5 miles to get back to camp. But I got all afternoon, so I'm gonna try to stroll through some of it and stop at Charlie's Bunyan again. And it's been just so beautiful. The weather's perfect. Like the temperature is not too hot so that even coming up some of the inclines you don't sweat that much. And skies are pretty, trees are pretty, the flowers are pretty. It's awesome up here. Lots of phlox and some lilies that are along the trail. So I've been loving it. It's really cool. I'll try to let you see a little right here. See what I mean? Awesome. I mean, like every other trail that I've been on in the Smokies, you keep going through these changing sections that, you know, like our microclimate or, you know, a certain niche that will go through mountain laurel or rhododendron sections that are heavily shaded with some cedar or fir or some evergreen rising up above the rhododendron to these fields almost along the top, the balds, to creekside forests with a lot of poplar and maple. And you can get all that in just a few miles hiking here. It's what makes it one of the coolest places. Definitely that I can get to in a weekend. Alright, I'm gonna keep heading towards Charlie's Bunyan again. Maybe I'll try to get you a look there. What a cool piece of rock that is. kind of cleaving in layers, which usually suggests sedimentary rock. I don't know rocks. I try to teach them, but it's just one of those things that I haven't looked at enough pictures probably with names and stuff. But something like a shale. Kind of see that it's been uplifted in this way. We're getting close to another peak back there. Charles Bunyan's just ahead. But I couldn't help myself stopping here with this. All the color in that rock. And then look at the moss and fern growing on it. Fantastic. Whew. I needed something to pick me up because I turned around maybe 3 miles ago near Laurel Top, heading back towards camp. I'm gonna stop up here at Charles Bunyan for a while, but you know, going back through the same section of trail and kind of feeling some of the fatigue. I was moving slow. But this is one of my favorite spots on this trail. Well, let's see what how many people are at Charles Bunyan. I'm maybe like a mile from Newfound Gap, maybe even less than that. And it's about 6 o'clock at night. So I'll be getting down there before sunset. May even drive up to Klingman's Dome for sunset. we'll see how that goes. But I decided not to camp at my reservation, Ice Water Springs shelter. I'm not a huge fan of shelters, especially when I'm just solo hiking. When I'm with a group, you know, it's good because, you know, you've got your people there, and I have a hammock, but I was just going to be hiking these same 3 miles out in the morning. Hey, so it's Sunday morning, and I guess yesterday I had troubles with GoPro, so got a new battery in it from the truck this morning and works just fine. But I finished up my hike, and I'm on my way out of Great Smoky Mountains National Park now. I stopped at the Oconaluftee Visitor Center and this farm museum, kind of just stretching my legs. Whew. But I think I did about 18 miles yesterday. A lot of that is, you know, up and down from one ridge top to the next. It was a great day of hiking. Like, I felt awesome the whole day. Towards the end, I was definitely fatigued, but when I drove by this area before, heading up to the hike, this field on the other side of this farm was just filled with elk, and I stopped and kind of looked at them for a minute. But they're along the tree line over here, on this side of the farm museum. They're gonna be too small to see unless this one closer by hangs around. So I'll head a little bit closer. I'll keep, you know, the appropriate distance away from them. They have signs that says that when the elk are present, that the meadows are off limits. Like, when the elk are in the field, they get access to the field. You don't have a right to that here. There's chickens just kind of walking around on the loose here. Driving down from Newfound Gap this morning, it's kind of cool. You kind of hit this like perfect zone where you were up and we were fogged in. It was raining this morning and fogged in, and you drop down in elevation and you hit this clear area below that level of clouds, but there was still clouds down in the valley where we are now. It was really cool to kind of have it just completely change how it looked. Alright, I'm gonna stay on the trail. There's actually another trail on the other side there, river trail, something like that. So maybe I'll backtrack through the farm museum and walk up that way a little bit. There's more elk back beyond that one there. This is cool. It's getting me excited for our summer trip where we'll be able to see some amazing wildlife. Alright, well, that's kind of my Great Smokies trip. I'm gonna get back in the truck and drive a little bit on the Blue Ridge Parkway, maybe stop a couple times and stretch my legs because I'm super sore. But awesome weekend here in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. So thankful to get opportunities to experience the world like this. So, well, I wanted to stop and share with you and tell you science rocks. Peace.